Mindset. We are a podcast that covers everything from parenting to travel and business, right? So we're here to introduce ourselves today and tell you guys why you should be listening to this podcast.
And to start with, I'll tell you where the crazy idea came up with. So about 2 weeks being postpartum with my third child, about 3 a.m. in the morning, I got an idea. It was like a light bulb went off that we should tell everyone about this. And this meaning what goes on in our brain sometimes. Our husbands have shared with us that may not be normal or usual for everyone else. And it's everything from, as Sheri mentioned, but from traveling with kids and making it fun to doing business together to just growing our network and just learning more from each other and trying to be a mom at the same time, being successful and actually enjoying it. So light bulb went off in my head and I was like, we should start a YouTube channel or a podcast or something just to get some information out there and to help others in any way that we can. My biggest thought is to when we rode the elevator up and all of our success that we've had thus far and still lessons learned along the way, but now we need to send it back down. And so if we can provide cliff notes really for anyone or everyone out there in any walk of life that they're trying to promote themselves, grow their business, start a business, just have ideas and know where to put them, that's our goal of what we're trying to be able to help with.
So, really what we're looking to do here is, through our journey, we've made a lot of mistakes in business, in parenting, in life with our husband and travel. And we have really learned to take tools, take information from these experiences, and we want to share those, right? So that's our goal here is that each time you guys listen, you would leave with something tangible you could walk away with, maybe even, action items that will help make your life better quality, right? So why should you listen to us? Who the heck are we, right? Jana, who are you?
Who am I? My name is Jana. I am a Texas native, was born in Texas, was raised primarily by my single father. He worked in the kind of retail industry in Walmart. And so I say that we traveled around a lot. I grew up in a lot of different places, met a lot of new people. Basically, anytime a new Walmart would open in the southern part of North America, my dad and I were moving there. So I was able to learn business, in my perspective, from a very young age, because at 2 and 3 and 4, up to 10 years old, I was listening into the meetings that he would lead at Walmart while eating my snacks and having like a juice box or something. And I always said, I took probably the best naps I've ever had in my life on the customer service desk of Walmart growing up. And so I was able to learn from him unknowingly, what he was teaching me about business. And he was a very, not only a trustworthy, just genuine human, good human, but he also he leaned into people. He cared about his employees like none other. And I didn't really understand that concept until obviously many years later. And so one thing my dad always told me is I could be anything I wanted to be in life. So I, at 9 years old, wanted to be a Walmart truck driver. It was my goal. He supported it. I thought it was the greatest thing ever. I was going to have the best career in the entire world. Obviously, many years down the road, I decided to go a little bit different path. I got my undergrad in engineering at the University of Texas, hook 'em, and went down the engineering road, was fortunate, got hired in a small firm in the Austin area, worked for them for a couple of years. And then about 3 years later, I went to a global company. And that's where I thought the end all be all. That was the greatest job in the world. I was in big corporate. I was going to climb the ladder. And that's kind of where my brain just stopped. I was like, I'm going to do this the rest of my life and I'm going to retire and this is going to be great. This is the dream. I've made it. And then I decided to go back and get my MBA. I thought maybe let me just extend my education a little bit, see if it can help me climb the corporate ladder, possibly become an entrepreneur. I didn't really know what that meant. So truthfully, I was reading a magazine and while I was waiting for class one night, and there was this ad in there about this new gym up and coming called Orange Theory Fitness. Had never heard of it, knew I needed to get back into exercising, so I was going to check it out. That weekend, I dragged my husband to a parking lot workout, which is where I met Sheri close to 10 years ago. I'll be honest, I met her and talked to her because she had a really cute dog named Jambi. So Jambi got my attention. We talked. I did a workout. And to this day, at the time when we were able to purchase an Orange Theory Fitness, I was the youngest franchisee in the brand at the time. And I walked up to Sheri and I said, here's my credit card. I want to buy a membership for myself, a membership for my husband, and I want to buy an Orange Theory. And she smiled and said, let's do do it. It's just kind of her personality, and I just went with it. So many years later, we have both successfully been in and out of Orange Theories. My husband and I owned a couple of those in the Austin area. And then a few years after that, I decided I did not have children at the time, so I had dogs. So Orange Theory made sense. It was kind of perfect for our life at the time. I ended up having our first child in 2018 and decided my life was going a little bit different path. Oddly enough, they don't send you home with user manuals. They don't tell you how to have kids or what to do with kids or how to help them be good humans. And so Sheri and I, still best friends at the time, we found a franchise called Kid Strong. And so that's how we've been in business together. We've successfully opened 10 plus businesses at this point with a lot of effort and failures and successes and everything in between. And that's hopefully what we can share with you guys. And I'll let you tell them who you are.
Yeah. So just giving kind of the background story. I grew up a lot differently than Jana, right? And it's one of the things that has really complemented each other along this journey and allowed us to have varying perspectives. And that's one thing we hope to bring to this environment is concepts that have you think about things in a different way, right? And so when I was about 5 years old, my parents got divorced. I grew up in Northern California. So the environment that I grew up in was much different. It was a mom working at restaurants and wineries, and a pretty absent father until I was about 14. And that's where I found myself, though, is when my dad came back into my life. He didn't know what to do with me, 14-year-old girl. Right. And what did he do with me? Well, being that he was in construction and school got out around 3, but he wasn't done until 6, he got me a gym membership at a tiny gym in the town we lived in. And I had pretty low self-esteem at that time. You know, I was definitely a product of my environment. I had been around a lot of violence in my youth and a lot of drug use from my parents. And so this gym membership, I started working out, and the man who owned it, who is just this ripped bodybuilder, he was so cool. He came up to me and said, "What are you doing? Can I teach you?" I must have looked like I was lost, even on the treadmill. And he's like, "Can I help you? Can I teach you?" And the very first thing he taught me was just how to do a sit-up, how to do the buttons on the treadmill, right? And over the course of just a couple weeks, my confidence completely changed. I got on the soccer team. I became a cheerleader. My grades went up. Everything in my life changed because this stranger had seen a lost 14-year-old girl and said, "If you're going to be in here for a couple hours every night, let's make sure you don't get hurt." Right. And so at 14, I knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. I knew I wanted to own a gym someday. I wanted to be like that guy and help people, but specifically kids someday, if I could, accomplish that. So what took a different path, we joke around where I come from and say I went to UCJC. That's the junior college in Santa Rosa, California, where I'm from. And I didn't even start at that college until I was 24. What I did when I was 17 is I got out the classified ads and found a gym called Fusion Fitness that was opening up, and they were in pre-sale. And I walked up to that pre-sale a month before I turned 18 and met the owner, who became my first mentor. Her name's Kathy Palio. She was Miss Universe in 1986. And I think she was the first person in my life to tell me that I could do anything, that I could own a gym someday. And she hired a 17-year-old in pre-sale at Fusion Fitness. She didn't let me start until my 18th birthday. And she taught me sales. She taught me to work the front desk, to talk to people, to find out about their goals and how to meet their needs. And within a year and a half, I became the sales department. I then hired salespeople and got my first opportunity to manage others. So at that point, I was having a great time. Kathy was an amazing person, and she actually introduced me to an opportunity at a place called the University of Sports. This facility was 65,000 square feet and had floating indoor basketball courts, Nike turf field. We did the Rick Barry Fantasy Camp. We had Joe Montana practicing basketball with his son there. This is in Sonoma County, California. Jerry Rice came to the grand opening for them and signed autographs. Like, it was amazing. And Aaron Locks was the general manager, the man running it, and primary owner of the business. And Aaron became my second great mentor in life. He used to work for the Warriors and Lakers. He would review video. He was this incredible coach and truly believed in, similar to your dad, it reminds me of that a lot, like pouring into the people that work with you and helping them become better. He was all heart, but also extremely driven. Today, he actually owns a franchise that takes youth sports into cities and takes over the recreation department running camps and leagues for the city. It's really just wonderful because it allows the city to give something that every community needs, but oftentimes cities are incapable of managing or financing properly. Everybody wins. So a really brilliant man. Worked for him for 6 years and got the opportunity to manage 8 different profit centers. So that's, where I really learned how multifaceted I could be with, managing a spa, managing a pro shop, managing camps, managing leagues, managing the gym memberships, the training department. And then we even had group fitness. We were one of the very first places to have TRX and TRX classes. And I got to go to San Francisco with Ursa and get certified by the Marine who invented the TRX strap. So I was living the dream, right? And here I am. I'm like 22 years old, 24 years old. And it was around the time that I turned 28 that I was in love. And the guy that I was dating had passed the bar in Florida and said, will you move with me to Florida? And so I moved to Florida for love and adventure, and the adventure part worked out great. But 6 months later, we weren't in a relationship anymore. Great person. But what had happened was I had a God moment there in Florida. I was literally sitting in a Starbucks in downtown Tampa, and there were a guy and a girl in a bright orange shirt, and they were talking about someone they had helped lose 40 pounds in 8 weeks. And so me being who I am, I already had gotten a job, but I couldn't help myself. I said, what did you guys do? What are you handing out at this gym that somebody lost 40 pounds in 8 weeks? And they were like, oh, we're Orange Theory Fitness. We're amazing. Like, you got to check this out. And this is right maybe 2 years after the brand had started. And I was like, oh, that sounds so cool. Here's my resume. I'd love to check it out. And so I went in for a class and an interview with an amazing man named Troy Taylor, and knew I wasn't going to take the job, but I wanted to learn about this fitness concept if it was really helping people that much. And 5 minutes into the interview, I'm not even joking, Troy goes, look, you're hired. You've got to meet with the owner. You need to be working here. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I wasn't trying to waste anyone's time. I wanted the workout and, I wanted to learn, but I already have a job down the street, right? Well, long story short, Terry Blachek called me at that other job and secret shopped me, told me that I did well, but he could teach me a thing or two. And he became my third grade mentor. And the thing about Terry is he has an infinite mindset. His vision, he taught me to stretch my vision beyond, I want to own a gym and be happy and build community, to a bigger vision of, I could own one gym or I could own 100 gyms. And then how many people am I impacting? He taught me that the reward of helping one woman lose 20 pounds so that she could get pregnant was amazing. But the reward of having 1,000 people employed, because you have 100 locations with 10 employees, and what you're doing for each of those people's lives, in addition to the people they're touching, was everything. That was my new motivation. And so, working for Terry, I was in Florida, opened up the Sarasota location for Orange Theory Fitness down there, got it up above 800 members. And at that point, he sat me down in a bar. We were at Third Base Bar. And he said, I bought the Austin territory for Orange Theory. And I already sent Troy and Aaron out there, a couple of guys, and we need more. We need something else out there. We need Sheri out there. And he wrote down a deal on a napkin and said, this is what I'll do for you if you move to Austin. And what he was offering me, I'd never been to Austin before. He said, you move out there and I will give you 5% ownership. And for me, I grew up on food stamps. When I was 10 years old, I was stealing money out of my mom's purse so that we could save for a car. And I did it, by the way. I stole money for like 3 months, tip money. She didn't even notice because she'd come home blasted. And when she was one day going like, we really need a car, I said, I have $700. So the idea of somebody giving me a chance to own something when nobody in my family had barely been capable of owning their own vehicle was a no-brainer, right? So that was in like the beginning of December. On January 1st, 2015, I loaded my dog and my cat in my Hyundai Tucson and drove to Austin, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life. Went from 1 to 20 plus locations here for Orange Theory Fitness in the Austin and San Antonio area. About a year after I was here, a year and a half, Terry came to Troy and I with an opportunity to purchase San Antonio, along with being a part of Austin. And we would have to put money into that. And I made the decision to do it. It was a huge learning experience, right? Could have walked away, could have had scarcity mindset. No, I got to keep what I've already gotten in my pocket. But I was all in. Once we got San Antonio and Austin up past 20 locations, we then were able to go shop private equity firms. And Terry took me right along with him. We shopped several different firms, went and met with them in different states at their offices, showed them the deck, presented our company, talked about painting the picture, talked about what inning private equity likes to get involved and what's the end game for private equity. And we did get a deal. We got our deal. And it was one of the best educations I've ever gotten in my life. I don't think I could have paid to get a better education on business and how to grow something, the amount of work it takes, the amount of mistakes it takes, and have better mentors in my life for it. Jana and I, we both in the last 6.5 years, have had 3 kids each, and we've opened up 7 Kid Strongs as a team. And the way that came about was we had closed our deal with private equity. And I got a text message while I was in the hospital having my daughter, right? So I'm in the hospital, I'm getting induced. It's horrible. If any of you have been induced, like what a great time, right? Forced contractions. So, and I get this text because you are kind of bored too, right? And it's a video from this guy, Zan Carr, who I had been having do recruiting for me at Orange Theory for like regional levels and above, right? And he said, hey, I saw this video and I thought of you. And it was a Kid Strong class in the back of a CrossFit in Kentucky. And it was awesome, right? It wasn't even called, I don't think it was even called Kid Strong at the time. And I sent it to Jana. I said, I've agreed to go meet with this guy for coffee. And I honestly thought he needed money from Terry, right? Why would he want to talk to me, But this guy, Matt Sharp, the CEO, sat down with me, showed me what he was doing at Kid Strong, showed me the blueprint. And I said, this is it. I've always wanted to own a gym. I've owned 5% of a bunch of them, but this is the gym that I'm going to own finally. This is going to be that community that I build. And that's where my mindset was, right? Is I left and I called Jana before my husband. And I said, you're not going to believe it. I'm going to send you all this stuff. I think I found something that I want to do. I want to open one of these in Pflugerville and I need your help, right? Like you're the brains of this operation and I'll go be the passion and, let's do this together. And she looked at it. Jana's very analytical. She sent it to one of her professors, right, from where she got her master's and said, no, we're probably going to build 20 of these. And I was like, okay, well, let's go. Right. And so the rest has just kind of been history. I'm on the validation committee for Kid Strong. So potential franchisees will call in and the questions that they ask, Jana and we're talking about it. And we're like, man, these are individuals, mothers, fathers, that are coming from corporate world, that are coming from, regular jobs, that are coming from single management, previous ownership experience, or maybe a couple and now looking at multi-level unit operations, right? And the questions they're asking, some of them are about how do you hire a manager? Like, what are the questions you ask to really make sure you're hiring someone that's going to not just have the skills and do the job, but all that junk in their personal life is going to be junk you can handle so they stick around, right? How do you hire, right? All the way to, I have a 6-month-old and a 3-year-old. Can I really do this? And for us to be able to say, you can do this, and here are some tips on how it would look. Right? That's, as we're talking to our husbands and each other about it, we said, man, instead of just having these one-off phone calls and these one-off moments with each other where we're debriefing on what we've learned, why not do this podcast and create a platform where all these business related, parenting related, travel related pieces that come to mind for that mompreneur mindset, right? Let's bring it. Let's share it. And so here we are.
I think one of the many goals of this too is to streamline it for everyone else, because we learned from Google and every tool and resource and mentor that we both had in life, and books and professors and all of the above on how to get to where we are today. And again, many mistakes along the way. We've learned plenty of life lessons. I'm done learning those lessons, but I know they will continue. But to say that is, we would like to bring that to the table for somebody else and basically just put it in short form and just here you go. And, you know, we've had people offer us like consulting gigs or things like that. And it's like, that's great. I mean, it's good to have that option, but I think it's even better to share it and give back, even though both of our, I guess, how we were raised is definitely different, but we both still have the mindset of giving back. It's a servant heart. It's one of the most important things that I know we attempt to teach our children on a daily basis. Our kids teach us more at this point in life, but we definitely want that to happen. And I want my kids or our kids to like see what we're doing and hopefully make a difference. I mean, and enjoy what we're doing. Like, if anything, this is an outlet for us. And we've both said that, like, we've enjoyed what we've learned. We feed off of each other. Like, we kind of say that everyone stays in their own lanes. And that's truly the picture here is you learn everything that I would never learn or even know to go seek out and understand. And I've just learned so much about the marketing and the sales process and just the operation side of it that my mind does not automatically go to when I think business or I think big picture. And then you've learned things you never want to do in your life. You don't really want to look at P&Ls. You don't really want to deal with attorneys and landlords and leases and just all the jargon that goes with it. And so I think we feed off each other well. We're very fortunate to have the type of business relationship that we have. I mean, I don't know the percentage, but I would say it's pretty rare that two friends became best friends, became business partners, and you're technically not supposed to do business with your best friends, but here we are, and we're all willing to, our joke, full transparency on this, our joke is, if Kid Strong failed for us, we were going to live under a bridge.
Yeah, together. With our kids.
All of our families.
Yeah.
And I had a really nice bridge picked out on I-35. And so every time over the past specifically 6 years, so as our Kid Strong life has grown, each time, and our husbands are in on it too, of course, we say, the bridge is just going to get a little bit nicer, but we're still not scared of it. Like we're going to do it. Now we have 6 kids to fit under it. So we need a nicer tent and so forth and so on. So, but hopefully it is a continued running joke, but that's the way that we measure it, is like, there is risk in everything. And there's some things that we've turned down too. We've turned down many opportunities. We've turned down different directions to grow within Kid Strong. We've turned down other business opportunities and franchise opportunities as well to be where we are today. So we do have experience. We definitely want to learn more, and we continuously learn more, but I think it's great that we feed off each other. We're able to help each other learn things that we would never know. Like, I want to learn something every single day of my life. I think it's good for the soul. I think it's good for the mind. It's what keeps us so young at 40 years old. So we appreciate that for each other. And there's a space for it. We don't always agree. Like, truly, at least once or twice a week, we're like, we're just not going to agree. And we respect each other, and we still may never agree on it, even 5 years later, if it works itself out. But it's something to not take lightly, that we've worked hard to be where we are. We appreciate each other. We appreciate, of course, our staff. We have 70 plus staff now with Kid Strong. There are other children. So we have a pretty large family. Our family reunion every summer is pretty big at the park. So I think it's a great place to be right now. And we hope that we can share any and all knowledge. We're an open book. We hope to be as transparent and raw as humanly possible. Anything in the business, mom, travel mindset, we're ready.
So that's Mompreneur Mindset. We're going to be here to share the good, the bad, the ugly, and give you guys tools, hopefully, from our experience as business owners, parents, and people who love to enjoy life through it all.